Welcome to the 827th Durston X-Mid video uploaded today. The X-Mid tents are really popular at the minute. I'm just going to find somewhere to get mine set up so we can see what all the fuss is about. I'll run through the pricing with you as well, because there is a way that you can claim back the customs duty that you pay if you buy one directly from the Durston website and you're in the UK. So come along. Still quite warm at the minute as well, so I'm in full Steve Irwin shirt mode again, summer mode. And here it is. I've got the X-Mid one person with the solid inner. It comes in this bag. I do prefer the sort of long ways zipper or long ways opening bags, because these can be quite a faff to repack the tent into, but this one's been okay so far. I've pitched this twice up to now. So when you get the tent, obviously it doesn't come with the trekking poles that you need to pitch it, and it doesn't come with pegs, and it doesn't come with all the guy lines that you need either. You just get 2 guy lines, which I'll show you, and then I've made my own up that I just keep inside the pockets inside. When it comes as well, the inner and outer are separate, so you just have to connect those up the first time that you pitch it, and then you can leave them connected after that. We can pitch it with just 4 pegs as well as a minimum, and all you do is pitch the base out in as close to a perfect rectangle as you can get. I mean, I'm sure you've seen a million videos pitching this now, and then it's just a case of unzipping the door, putting the trekking poles in. Now they go tip up, and there is a little metal grommet that they go into, so obviously you need to make sure that the tip is in there, or you'll be ripping through the top of your tent. And then you just slide up your trekking pole as far as it'll go. That's that side done. Got a right sweat on here. I won't be spending long inside this today, it's roasting. And that's your basic pitch, albeit not a very good one. At this point, what I do is go around and tighten these corners and pull those in, adjust any pegs that you need to, and depending on the conditions, obviously decide which guy lines you're going to put out. So for the guy lines, you get these with it, one on each apex, and they've got the same adjusters on as the corners. The bottom of the zips on the doors have got a buckle on them. The next thing I would do is peg this point here as well. That means that this bit stays in place when the doors open. You've got a pegging point here, halfway up the door, and one at the bottom. There's one on the vent here as well. So there's a vent on each apex that's held down by Velcro with this little plastic stay in there to prop that open. It's hard to do with one hand. You get the idea. There's no bug mesh behind that, which I was going to mention, but Andrew Park beat me to it. And there's a peg point here as well. These are the only ones that I've done anything with so far, because I don't know which ones I'm going to need. So I've just put a loop of bungee on there so that it's not obviously a solid connection point. I've double looped it, so if I've got the tent high up, I can get a longer loop, and if I'm lower to the ground, I can get a shorter loop. The zips on the doors are waterproof, so you don't need a storm flap or anything like that. And then the doors are held here with a little magnet, which again I'm sure everybody knows about. This being the latest version, I've got a magnet that holds the inner as well. There's one thing here that I need to adjust. So this is meant to go around the trekking pole, but it's just not a big enough loop here. And I thought it was me being a muppet, but again, Andrew Park on his video said the same thing, so I'll just lengthen that. As I said, I've not pitched this very well, so the inner's not very stretched out. This is some of the guy lines that I've made. So I've just put a plastic hook on one end. They're quite strong, they're from AliExpress, and then a adjuster on the other end. I did put these in the pocket, but they've fallen out. But as long as they stay inside the tent, I'm not bothered. They don't weigh hardly anything. Right, so the width of this inner is, I would say, based on this crap pitch, 70 centimetres. And that's potentially one of the things that could be an issue. I'm going to be out in this next week, and I don't know if that's going to be too narrow for me. It's wide enough for my mat, and there's plenty of space in there to put stuff at the foot end and the head end. So I just need to try it a few times and just see what it's like to live with, essentially. I'm not going to go into loads of detail yet because I just wanted to give you a quick look at it. And I'm also thinking, you know, why are these so popular? Obviously, if you're in the US, they're quite a good budget option because you're not got to pay all those import fees and tax and everything on top of it. So for $230 or whatever the dollar equivalent is, you're getting a decent tent for that price. But even with the fees and everything, I think it's quite a decent option. The materials are sill poly as well. So unlike the sill nylon tents like the 3FUL and the Nature Hike tents that I've had before, when this gets wet, it won't sag and droop, so I won't need to be getting out of it in the rain and readjusting it to tighten it up again. Well, that's the theory anyway. I haven't bought one until now because with this latest version, they've changed the colour as well. It is more of a green now. When they first came out, or earlier versions were more of like a baby blue colour. Not that colour matters too much, but I do prefer something that blends in a little bit more. It's still not massively dark, but it's better than a bright blue, I think. It does seem really well made as well. The materials are nice, but the stitching looks really well done as well. It just feels like a nice solid tent. I don't mind the fact that it doesn't come with pegs because I use the Big Sky International tent stakes. If you haven't seen Andrew Park's video, it's definitely worth a watch, and it's unlikely, but if you've not heard of him or seen his channel, he just knows loads of stuff about tents. I've watched loads of his reviews just because he seems to know what he's on about, and he seems to have a different tent every week. So when he reviews a tent or looks at a tent and does a video on it, you know, he's got all those tents that he's tried before to compare it to. So my plan is to try this out one night this week. I am hoping it's going to be a little bit cooler though, because with this being the solid inner, you don't get a huge amount of airflow, or obviously not as much as if it was a mesh inner. And I hate camping when it's red hot. I'd rather be camping in freezing, you know, minus temperatures than sweating my ass off in a plastic bag. So in terms of that price, let me get this right. So the tent from Durston Gear's website was £216. Then on top of that, you have to pay like fees and import fees. So there's £41 VAT, £22 customs duty, and then an £8 handling fee that Royal Mail charge. Now what a lot of people don't know, or at least I don't think they do it, is that you can claim back the customs duty. So that £22, there's a form that you can fill in for Border Force. You just fill it out, send a copy of your order confirmation and an email that you get from Royal Mail with the package tracking on it. And then a couple of weeks later, I got the £22 directly back into my bank account. So it's not a massive amount, but it's worth doing for the sake of filling in a form. And it means that the total price of the tent from Durston Gear shipped from Canada to your door is about £265. There's an article that I found that gives you a full rundown of what you need to do to claim back those customs fees, with a link to that form as well. So I'll put a link to that in the description. I'll see you next time. Beans and sausage.